Donald Trump raid isn't what you were told. He was made an example of. An intimidation setup, two sets of rules, two-tier justice system. What kind of America do we have? Do we have blind justice? Are we a nation of laws, or are we a nation of men? Changing men at the whims, the changing winds of culture, emotion, rules changing day by day, goalposts moving, or are we a country of laws, of immutable laws, of uncensorable laws, of unchanging laws like the Bitcoin code, or very hard to change code or law like the Constitution or the Bill of Rights? What are we? Are we just going to change flippantly by the day? These are, again, just some people who haven't been rated by the FBI. Pedos associated with you know who. You know who, number two. You know who, number three. You know who, Swalwell, sleeping with a Chinese spy. Let's go, Brandon. Nancy herself, Omar, Cuomo, Newsom. We're not going to say all their names. They honestly don't even need to, they don't deserve airtime, quite honestly. And that's just my opinion. That's how I feel. But this is the real reason people are upset, though. Not because someone is looked at or scrutinized. Don't care. Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home was raided by the FBI like we were in an episode of House of Cards. I hope bad people go down. You know, if Donald Trump did bad things, did wrong things, if he really incited an actual resurrection, if he really did stuff and took things to Mar-a-Lago with him, he should get in trouble. Anyone who does bad things should get in trouble. Again, you just saw the list of the people who haven't been rated, who have barely even been questioned. We could add so many people on there. The Eric Holders of the world, the Lois Lerner's, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It's just an absolute joke. That's why people are upset. If Trump actually did something wrong, again, don't you think we would have found something over the last 5 years of him being on trial, being impeached twice, and him just being scrutinized 24 hours a day, 5 years in a row, 365 days? What is that, 1,500, 1,700 days? He's just been scrutinized over and over and over and over again. Don't you think we would have found something? Don't you think we would have found something over the last 2 years or whatever, year and a half, 2 years of the insurrection, January 6th? Again, the fact that many people more aren't also being rated leads to conspiracy theories. This is the biggest problem. This is the problem. This is why people are upset. The fact that people across the board are not being rated and not being taken down just leads to a tiered system, and leads to a breakdown in society, leads to a breakdown, demise of our culture and our system, and just straight up conjecture and conspiracies. This is how conspiracies start, because justice is not served, and justice is not going to happen every single time. But people not even being looked at, not even being questioned. I mean, the fact that a laptop was found right before the election and not one word, big tech media just completely covered it up, and that man is now the president of the United States because of what his family was doing behind closed scenes couldn't even be questioned. That in and of itself is appalling. That's why this will get worse before it gets better. Again, maybe this is what they want. They want discord, rules for radicals. This is what they want. They want division. They want chaos. Karl Marx talked about this. We need to rise up. We need chaos in the system. That's all good revolutions. They start with chaos and division, hatred. We don't hate each other. Whites, blacks, left, right. All these people, we're neighbors. Most people do not hate each other. 98% of people don't hate each other. They aren't racist. They aren't sexist. They aren't any of these things. How many people actually know people like that? I mean, 99 of 100 people you know in your life. Again, and maybe I'm speaking for myself. Maybe I'm just in the wrong crowds. I don't know. But I don't know anyone that does those things. But again, why am I asking logical questions? That's the problem. I always get upset when my family asks logical questions. And I say, you're not thinking about this the right way. You're thinking logically. You need to start thinking emotionally and through the lens of division, hatred, and control. That is how you start seeing things 2020. Oh, that makes sense. That's why the World Economic Forum is in bed with every European country. That's why they're in bed with America. That's why Trudeau was in the Young Leaders Club and their finance minister in Canada. They're all in bed together. And until we start realizing the central banks are the ones coming up with all this debauchery, it's the World Economic Forum, the Bank of International Settlements, I can't even talk right now, I'm so fired up. The Bank of International Settlements, the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund, the Bank of Japan, you name them. These entities are the ones that are the ones running everything. All these politicians are just little puppet masters, and they decide, George Soros puts in his district attorneys, and that leads to defund the police movements. That leads to insanity. That leads to things that just defy logic. But again, when you think logically, you spin yourself into this doom vortex because you don't get it and you just get frustrated. You have to take steps to remove yourself from the system. That's why so many things we do here are removing ourselves from the system. Again, we have a two-tier justice system. Obama's attorney general oversaw a gun running operation, for crying out loud, just to frame a situation that looked like they could have cartels committing murders, committing atrocities, and then make it look like, oh, look at guns were coming from America, so we got to get rid of guns. This was 10 plus years ago. I mean, this kind of stuff, and no one, barely anything said a word. Operation Fast and Furious. I can't even talk right now. It's beyond frustrating. And again, it's not because I could care less about Trump. I could care less about anyone. Biden, Trump, you name it. I don't care. What people are upset about, that's what most people don't understand. What most people are upset about is that there's a two-tier justice system, and there's no accountability. There's no responsibility for anything. It's just seemingly that one side is attacked over and over and over again, and the other side is just skates scot-free. Again, not even the attorney general oversaw a gun running operation to frame people. Not even a year or two later, Lois Lerner, one of the heads of the IRS, targeted conservative groups and intimidated them, and nothing happened. And again, if this was the opposite way around, and that would be just as egregious. And if only things were happening to the left but not to the right, we would have a breakdown of society. We'd have a breakdown of culture. You'd see mass protests. You'd see mass discontent. And you're going to see that going forward. Both sides of the aisle. Humans are humans. This doesn't matter what side it's on, man, white, black, white, man, woman, left, right, red, blue, doesn't matter. Conservative, liberal, does not matter. Doctors and people with contrary opinions to the powers that be were censored, muted, or lost their license the last couple of years. Running minors to private islands are covered up and no one held accountable. We could go on and on. We already shared some things earlier. But again, Holder, right here, contempt of Congress, you just can't make this stuff up. 2012 here. How does this pertain to you? At some point, they come for you. And I try to wrap a lot of these things up and not just be current eventy, because I can't stand current events. And as Gerald Celente says, current events trump future trends. I'm a future trend person. I get it. It's not popular. I love history, and I love what's in the future. I really don't care about the present, because the present is already baked in. The history is how we learn, and the future is what's coming and how to prepare for it. The present is just what has to play out, because we've sown the seeds. We've either learned the lessons of history or we haven't, and now we've created this future for ourselves that's now playing out in the present. That's why I really don't care about the present. I don't care about future or current events. But look at current events. That's what gets, that's why, people like Rush Limbaugh were so massive, because he was the best current event person on the planet. That's why he got paid $50 to $100 million a year, because he was the best in the world at current events. And that's just the money talks. He was one of the top paid celebrities every single year. He was in Forbes top 10. He was top 100 celebrities. He was like top 5 every single year, because he was the best. And it was like sports athletes and then Rush Limbaugh. I can't stand current events. I know it's not a moneymaker, but I don't care. We're not going to change anything unless we learn from history, and then we change the future. The present, there's nothing we can do other than just pontificating and just giving opinions, which that's so much of the problem of society right now, is we're not a fact-based society. We're an emotional, opinion-based society. Again, what can we do here? I try to leave every time with, what can we do? What's the hope? And because again, at some point they come for you. No one's left to stand for you. We can change the system, but we need to prepare to do so. Food, storage, energy, water are all on the base of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The physiological needs: air, food, water, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. Shelter. We need these things. Get your base right. Make sure you have the basics to fortify your positions. The more independent and resilient we are, the less we need central authorities and government in this insane world we are living in. And it crumbles beneath us and resets itself if we can become independent. The more independent and resilient we are. Again, here's the food storage deal I love right now. Click here. Check that out. I'll try to put another link in here that's not on the blog, but in the description below for the video. But again, I don't make any money off this. It's not an affiliate link or anything. It's just paramount survival. And the more we can start focusing on this, the better we're all going to do. And this is just, again, this is a screenshot of it, My Patriot Supply. The elites are telescoping and intimidating anyone who doesn't follow the narrative. If you think this is going to stop anytime soon, you are sadly mistaken. The average person won't listen or read articles like this or watch any of this stuff. It's easier to put their head in the sand and act like nothing is going on. There's less work involved than when things actually hit the fan. They get to play the victim and say, who could have seen this coming? Schools are the ones who teach victim mentality. And they've created the crop of students now and young parents who are teaching victim mentality. Trophy generation. Everyone gets a trophy. We're all victims. Well, it's someone else's fault. And again, I was that person a long time ago. I never thought I was, but I was. I was that person who could never do any wrong. And when I was on the ice, it was always someone else's fault. And how could I be? I study. I'm a student of the game. I love the game. I'm great at it. And I've got these physical tools, whatever it is. I'm never wrong. And it's always someone's fault. Well, guess what? When you leave that responsibility realm and you abdicate it to somebody else, and put it on someone else, now they can get better because they're the responsible party. You're not responsible, so now you can never change, you can never grow, you can never get better, and that's the problem. We are diametrically opposed to the founding of this country. We were a tax-free country. The Boston Tea Party in 1773. I'm sorry, I can't even talk. It's time to realize this is not America anymore. Let me repeat. It is time to realize that this is not America anymore. This is going to get worse before it gets better. The financial system is crumbling. The cultural system is crumbling. Academics are crumbling. The rule of law is crumbling. Where do we get our hope? God? Faith? Again, we are a communist state that shrouds itself, or a socialist state, you could say, with some capitalist tendencies. Local involvement in school boards and local politics by sane human beings is a must if things are going to change. We have abdicated our responsibilities for far too long, letting the fringe rule the roost. This is a war on the spirit. I fear that things will have to get much worse before they get better. More chaos in the streets for people to truly wake up and change their spirits. And again, God changes people in many ways. There's two ways you can change. Through your own volition in changing yourself, or getting kicked in the behind. And humans tend to choose getting kicked in the behind. And so I can, without a doubt, say that we are going to choose the latter. We are going to choose the hard route. The hard road. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be the way for us that prepare. This is what's true at stake, though. People's spirit. We are in a spiritual battle. Make no mistake. Mentally and emotionally, we know things are wrong. Physically, we are out of shape as a country. And spiritually, we are devoid of any true foundation. We have doctors that can't even figure out the definitions of things. Again, I ask you, what kind of world is coming for us 10 years from now if we keep going down this course? This is why I constantly say Bitcoin fixes this. A return to God and faith, and a return to a true gold standard of money. Ironically, the new gold standard is Bitcoin, the new digital age of gold. Bitcoin leaves no ability. This is the important. This is why I say the price is the least cool thing, the least important thing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin leaves no ability for central banks and governments to print currency and silently, stealthily tax their citizens to death. Literally tax them to death. And fund their 20-year wars, blood, sweat, and tears, and their bridges to nowhere. Again, I'd have to check this, but I believe our Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, I believe he was on the board of Raytheon. Again, that's just one example of so many examples of people going from the cabinet to the board of a medicine company, big pharma, or going from a defense contractor, the military industrial complex, to politics and then back. What are we doing here? Again, these fruitless wars on poverty, drugs, viruses. How are you going to stomp out a virus? Drugs, poverty? How's that gone? Poverty? We have more poverty now than we did before we spent $10 trillion over the last 50 years. What are we doing? It keeps power in check. Bitcoin keeps power in check. Let me repeat that. Bitcoin keeps power in check. Let me repeat that one more time. Bitcoin keeps power in check and disseminates real thought, work, and freedom. Because Bitcoin can't be changed. Bitcoin is immutable. It's decentralized. It's a whack-a-mole. It can't be stomped out. It keeps reins on government cronies. It keeps reins on the Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. It keeps reins on Donald Trump, on Barack Obama, on Joe Biden, on George Bush, on Bill Clinton. It keeps reins on their power. The bigger government gets, the more powerful they are, the less powerful people are, the less freedom you have. The more powerful and freedom the people have, the smaller government is. This is factual. This is life. This is thousands of years of history. We have to rein in the centralized authorities. We are running a communistic experiment here that is not going to end well and is playing out very poorly right now. Donald Trump is the Roman Colosseum. Trump is a distraction. Again, if you've maybe heard of Bread and Circus before. Bread and Circus is the Roman Colosseum, and they would put the Romans in there, and they would give them free bread and wine and tell them to watch gladiators kill themselves, while the government did clipped coins and screwed the currency behind them and debased the monetary currency and printed currency like we have now. That's exactly what was going on. And they paid people to be piles of garbage, and the country, the empire collapsed because of that. And we were going through the same exact thing. It's very easy. Go watch episodes 9 and 10 of Mike Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money on YouTube. Unbelievable, 30 minutes each. Unbelievable comparisons and completely the same process the Roman Empire went through, America has gone through, and we are very near the end of it now. So it's going to happen, and we have to get prepared. We have to get resilient. We have to get independent. This is not a question of if it's going to happen. It's when, and we have to get prepared. Trump is the distraction the media and the political parties hang out there, like the Roman Colosseum, on a stick, a carrot for people to come fight over while the real games are being played in the background. And again, just this week, as former Navy SEAL who allegedly shot Osama bin Laden, Robert O'Neill, said this week, when politicians cheer out loud like they just did, whenever they do, it's not good news for you. Again, that means you're getting screwed. A spending bill, think about it, a spending bill is the exact opposite of reducing inflation. So inflation is just an expansion of a currency. That's all it is. It's government spending. That's all it is. We've talked about this in other episodes, other blogs. When we don't understand what we're getting into, when we don't stand for anything, we fall for anything. When we stand for nothing, we fall for anything. Again, I apologize. I cannot talk today. And again, the average person cannot see that. We are in a war in our minds, on our thought, on our freedoms, and the very essence of being human. A spiritual war for our souls. Parabellum, as Robert Kiyosaki talks about from the Merchant Marine Academy, and as the Marines say, if you want peace, prepare for war. Stay very strong. Again, investment update will be coming here in the coming days. A lot of current events going on, and we have some fun ones for you this week. So stay tuned. If you like this, please share it with somebody. Please, please, please. And please harden yourselves. Please get right with God. Please fortify yourself. Maslow's first base level of hierarchy of needs, and get prepared for what's coming. We need all the soldiers, we need everybody. We need all the freedom thinkers. We need everybody. Appreciate you, your time and energy. It's the most important thing we have. Thank you for spending it with me. And again, if you don't like it, please dislike. Please put comments here, what we can improve, what we can get better on. And if you like it, please like and subscribe. Please share. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.